Teresa Pulliam has a similar background to me. She was a prosecutor, but she has an expanded background. She was an assistant district attorney in Mobile, Alabama, and then she moved to Birmingham, and where she served as an assistant district attorney, where I got to know her. She was one tough prosecutor, and then she left the district attorney's office and was in private practice and raising her daughter. Her husband, Max, is an attorney that I have the pleasure of dealing with on occasion in city court when he gets one of those clients. But Max never handled the felony cases. Teresa did, but then she was appointed to the bench and has been reelected several times. She is one of the senior judges in the criminal division of the Circuit Court of Jefferson County and has served on the task force that was appointed, this latest task force that was appointed to deal with the issue, and I think she was a very important member of that task force, working with Senator Ward and the others on that. So I'll ask Judge Pulliam if she would give us her perspective. And I'm going to grab your chance. I'm going to stand behind you and tell what you're doing.
Pete, you can just sit right
First of all, let me say that one of the primary reasons I'm here on a beautiful Saturday is that I wanted to see Pete Johnson in Lee County, Alabama. My own eyes.
Roll tape.
We have a very healthy relationship, and football is right there at the top of our debates. It's a pleasure to be with you, and let me first of all thank all of you for your obvious devotion to the electorate and to our laws and to our state, or else you wouldn't be here on a beautiful Saturday, devoting your time and interest to this issue, which is so very important to all of us. Whether we know it or not, it is a very important issue that, excuse me, that this is really my 32nd year in the criminal justice system dealing with this issue. And of course, as a young prosecutor way back when, I didn't really understand the importance of this issue. It was very easy for me to recommend that somebody go to jail for 15 years for a burglary, and at that point in time, their lawyer would say, "Please, let's go." They went. And perhaps that mentality, that whole way that society looked at crime and treated crime back in the 70s and early 80s is one part of the problem that we are now find ourselves in. The Habitual Felony Offender Act did come into play, and because of that act, we have a lot of people serving a great number of years in prison for crimes that were nonviolent. There is not so much that now today. We do not sentence in that way. Now the guidelines that Senator Ward helped implement and passed into law and made mandatory last fall have done a great deal of service, I think, and helped in the overcrowding problem. But there is so much more work to be done. Our society, and this first panel is geared toward how did we get in this situation. And I can only tell you from a personal perspective that as a young prosecutor in the 70s and early 80s, when I got a case assigned to me in the DA's office that involved a gun, that was almost like a murder case. That was a huge case. That was a Class A felony, and we didn't see many robberies in the first degree. That means with a gun. The crime of the day way back when, if somebody wanted something that somebody else had, they would push the little old lady in the parking lot down and take their purse. And that was a serious crime. But we didn't have guns in our society back then. This is also before crack cocaine was really introduced into the world of Alabama. And with crack came more increased violent crime. Guns were brought into our community. And with the increase in drugs and guns, which I now see just about in every violent case that I see, a gun is the norm. If you talk to people in my court, even people who are felons and they know they're not supposed to have a gun, and they know they're going to go back to prison if I catch them with a gun, and they sit there and they cry in court and say, I can't live in my community without protection. And most of the time they haven't used their gun in a violent way, but they have it for protection according to them. The legislature, and I wish Senator Ward was here to address this, and he has addressed this on the front page, in that a number of the laws that we have on the books today were in fact a knee-jerk reaction to the guns and the drugs in our society. It's what the public wants to hear. It's what the public wants done. We as the public want violent offenders and people who are out breaking into our houses and stealing the copper off our churches and off our own air conditioners. We want something done about that, and we should insist upon something being done about that. But the way in which the legislature dealt with that is that the legislature put into effect minimum sentences for many drug cases based on the quantity of drugs alone. In other words, and I think best to give you some examples here, and I've given this many times, but two examples that I can give you. One woman, a young mother, single mother with a child, had a trafficking amount of cocaine, which is 28 grams. And it was, she says it was her boyfriend's, but she had it on her. She admitted to that. She had 3 prior drug offenses. And so the minimum sentence that I had to impose when she was convicted was a life sentence. Okay, a life sentence is what somebody gets, and it's the maximum sentence for a murder. Okay, think about that for a minute. All right, another example is a man who was a homeless man living in a car who had some morphine, this much morphine, in the bottom of an old coffee cup in the console. That's trafficking amount. Again, it doesn't have anything to do with somebody making money or having the drug packaged for sale or having cash money on them. Nothing at all. Our laws are based solely on the quantity of the drug. So because of the quantity of that morphine in the cup, he too faced a life sentence. Both of those individuals are still in prison and writing letters on a regular basis. And every time I get a letter, I do an order that says that I recommend the earliest possible for release, that I find these people nonviolent, they're not a danger to the community. But because of the volume of people that we have in our prison system, they haven't come up for parole yet. So we have what I consider to be the increase is a very minimal way to describe our drug problem. It is rampant, and it is rampant everywhere. The guns in our community and the new legislation as a result of those two problems, I think, are the 3 primary causes, as I see it, of our overcrowded system right now. And of course, money is always there at the root of all our problems in Alabama, because we do not have enough money to give to the Pardon and Parole Department for them to have enough people to consider these cases for parole and to get some of these people who have life sentences for drug cases out of our prisons and into rehab and into a supervised environment. That's why we're on the prison task force, and that's why we're dealing with these issues. And hopefully, we do have the ear of the legislature. We have the ear of our leadership. The Chief Justice, the Governor, the Speaker, and the Speaker Pro Tem all have this on their radar screen, and it's very important to all of them that some legislation be passed this session that will deal with this problem that is taken over our budget. I'm constantly here. The clerk's office is cut. The judges' salaries are cut. The retirement's cut. You're going to have to do away with your judicial assistants. Our security in our courthouse are cut. They're talking about stopping civil trials and just being able to try criminal cases where those people are in jail because our budget is going to be so cut in our court system. And all of this because so much of our state's money is going to prisons and Medicaid. And if we don't come up with a solution, all of us are going to continue to suffer as a result of our state's budget in all our different areas that we have interest in. So, again, thank you for being here, and I hope you'll ask a lot of questions.